So after 2 rounds of main courses, how about we just change gears? Let's make a dessert today. Welcome back to Cooking with Simran. So the last time we were here, we made fried chicken. In case you missed it, you can check it out by clicking on the card above. So desserts. Who doesn't love it? Honestly, I believe everybody has like a different stomach for it and no meal is complete without it. So the dessert we're going to make today is a classic peach cobbler. It's a summer dish and it comes from like the British Isles. Now it's like more Americanized. It's like a simpler version of pie without having to make like a pie crust and all those complexities. So peaches. So when we were shooting this, peaches were in season. But you can make this all year round by having like canned peaches or any other fruits. So I personally use cherries or plums with it. It gives it more of like a factor. It enhances the flavor very well. So personally, I'm not much of a fruit dessert person because they are like too sweet for me. But I stand by this because it's not that sweet. It's like got the perfect amount of sweetness with like undertones of cinnamon and nutmeg to it. So let's get started.
So let's begin by making the jam portion of the peach cobbler, for which we're going to start by pitting 15 to 20 cherries. Pitting basically means you split open the cherry in half and pop the seed out. After which you can thinly slice some peach, as you can see. I would say thinly slice them because it looks better in presentation later. Lastly, dice a whole plum. You can start by heating them up on a pan on a medium flame. Just let them heat on so all the sugar and fructose from the fruits will give out some liquid. After which you can add 1.5 tablespoon of powdered sugar. Again, the sugar will help bring out the fruit's own liquids. After which we can add half a cup of water and let all the sugar mixture get into the jam consistency. Once you are boiling the water and the fruits, you can spice your jam by firstly nutmeg. Nutmeg is a great spice when it comes to fruit desserts or any desserts basically. Just grate some nutmeg in it according to your taste. I would recommend a little because a little goes a long way. Trust me, it's also kind of I won't call it a drug, but too much of nutmeg can cause some halogenic effects, I guess. Second spice that we're gonna use is cinnamon. We're gonna use cinnamon in this recipe later as well, so it's easier to just introduce the flavor in the jam as well. As you can see, we'll now let the water and the jam mixture cook or like reduce down by half. In case it's taking time or you don't have time, you can also add some cornstarch like I did to quicken the thickening of the jam process. Lastly, I would just add a little bit of butter to just bring about the overall flavor of the jam. Then just let it cook down for 2 to 3 minutes more. Overall, your jam making process should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes. So once your jam portion is done, you can let it rest in the refrigerator or just hang it in the bag. And now we can move on to making the batter for the cake/bread portion. We'll start by adding 1 cup of flour in a glass bowl, followed by 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Baking soda is going to be the only rising agent in this whole batter. After which we're going to add 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. You can either powder brown sugar and white sugar or just brown sugar and just white sugar, both work. After which we're going to add a pinch of salt and then mix all the dry ingredients together. Now comes the wet ingredients. We'll first start by adding 1 tablespoon of honey. You can, instead of honey, you can always add like maple syrup or any other syrup. There's cornflower syrup or any sweet syrup. But I prefer honey because it's like naturally sweet, and it also gives out a little brownish texture. After which we're gonna add half a cup of milk and then whisk all the ingredients together. Make sure to whisk it very gently and lightly. We're gonna induce air in this batter, so we're just gonna go it in round motions. And make sure not to over whisk it, because it's very easy to over mix, and we're just gonna keep the whole texture light and fluffy. You can see I add a little more milk because it still hasn't reached the consistency I want for the batter. And then I'm just gonna add in and mix the extra milk. Also, if you remember, I didn't add half a cup like exact half a cup, so I guess I get this leeway. And now it's the perfect texture. It's the perfect, like it should just drop like that, but it shouldn't be too goopy, just the right goopy. I mean, you'll figure it out, don't worry. It's a very easy dessert. And that was the batter. So once when we're done with our batter portion, let's get back to baking part. We're gonna take half cup of butter and melt it or like defrost it in the microwave, and we're gonna pour it in the mold in which we're gonna bake the peach cobbler. We're just gonna pour it and let the butter like be in all sides of the mold, like just like you can shake the mold as you can see, and make sure that the butter touches all the regions of the board, and just pour the batter over the butter. Make sure not to mix butter and the batter, but just pour it over, so like the butter forms a well around the bread cake batter. And once you pour the butter, you can like flatten it out, and after which we're gonna add our jams, lovely jams, on top of the batter. Once we've added all the jams, you can like smoothen it out, swish it out. Lastly, in a small bowl, you're gonna take half a tablespoon of cinnamon powder and half a tablespoon of powdered sugar and mix it well, and just sprinkle it on top of all the jam mixture. That we're just gonna make sure, so when the peach cobbler is baking, the crust becomes very hard, like tuck, and inside it's all like very soft and squishy and like custard like. After which, while you're gonna prep the mold, you can preheat your oven at 170 degrees Celsius, and once it's preheated, you're ready to pop it in the oven for, I would say, 20 minutes.
I hope you all like it. I personally recommend it with like a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I don't know about other flavors, but vanilla just pairs beautifully with peach cobbler, and it just gives it that oomph that just pushes it over the edge. Again, I'd like to remind you guys, because this is like a baking recipe, do follow the instructions to the T. Also, if you really enjoyed the video, hit a like, share, subscribe. Also hit the bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos. Also, the next time we meet, we're gonna do the much requested pasta. I mean, I've been getting feedbacks and like DMs for it. So that was it. Thanks. Bye.